This video is brought to you by Gladiator Concealment and S4 Tactical Gear. Links are in the description box below. What's up, guys? It's Michael and Kyle with AKM Tactical. We appreciate y'all watching. We want to try something a little different today. We wanted to do a video in a first part in a series we want to call This Old Gun. You know, we all love the really super cool, tricked out tactical stuff. You know, that's kind of what we're about. But every once in a while, it's kind of cool to go back to that nostalgic, you know, guns that you used when you were a kid, or guns that your grandpa hunted with or your dad hunted with. You know, we just want to kind of take it back to some of the old school kind of cool and talk about some guns that we own, but also some guns that like my dad owns, you know, that we're going to bring into the series. You know, if you like this, I guess we'll start off. If you like this, let us know in the comments and we'll keep doing this. But this is kind of a trial run thing, so we're going to start off with one of Kyle's really cool old guns that he has. So go ahead, dog.
So, you know, everybody's introduction to firearms is unique and different. Me and Michael's introduction to firearms started when we were real young, as kids, with hunting, mainly.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't get into really self-defense until we were into our 20s.
Yep.
So we were around firearms our entire lives. I had my first BB gun at 3 or 4.
Mm-hmm.
Shot my first shotgun in the first grade. It knocked me on my butt. You know, that was my introduction to firearms, was hunting. And you know, this gun that I have sitting right here is a Winchester Model 88. It belonged to my grandfather, and before he passed away, he gave it to me. Here, it's been several years ago, but I've had this gun in my possession for a while, several years before he died. At a certain point, his vision had become, his peripheral vision was not good, so he didn't feel like it was safe for him to deer hunt anymore. And you know, this gun I have always admired and just liked. Papa has always had, as long as I can remember, and I'll tell you about the history of this gun, but as long as I can remember, this was Papa's deer rifle. I liked it because of the lever action on it, also the kind of the short compactness of it, the wood stock with the engravings. I've always had a thing for. But anyways, my first deer rifle was a 243. If any of you guys hunt with a 243, it is a capable round for whitetail, but they're going to run at least 30 yards usually. I've never, no matter how hard I've drilled a deer behind the shoulder with a 243, I've always had them at least run a little ways. And so I wanted to try something that would drop a deer in its tracks with a good shot behind the shoulder. And so I asked my papa to borrow it. He wasn't hunting that year, and I just asked him, hey, you know, can I borrow your 308? By the way, it's a Chamberlain 308. I asked him to borrow the 308. And I took it, and I killed a doe, knocked her on her butt. She didn't go anywhere. And I cleaned up the gun, you know, had it cleaned, oiled, you know, ready to go. And I brought it back to him, and he told me to keep it. And it meant a lot to me then, and even more so now. And the idea for this series came to me yesterday whenever I had this gun fitted with a new scope. Right now I have a Redfield Revolution 3x9x50, which Leupold has bought Redfield and is now making their glass. So I've heard great reviews on it. I'll have to put it to the test. I like the eye relief on it. I like the light gathering capabilities of it. But Papa had a Redfield, like an original Redfield, 3x7 by like probably 20 millimeter.
Yeah.
I should have brought the scope in for the video, but I didn't. But anyways, I took it to a local gun store, and I had them mount it and bore sight it for me. And while I was sitting there waiting on it, the guy brought the scope back out for whatever reason, sat it on the counter, and the original scope that this gun had on it. And a guy tried to buy it from me. And you know, I told him, you know, it was my papa's, and I got kind of emotional about it, because it's you know, this is something that he gave to me, he passed down to me, and I didn't realize how much it meant to me. I really debated on not even hunting with it. I debated on cleaning it really well, leaving the original scope on, and putting it in the safe and letting it be a safe queen, and going and buying another rifle to mount this Redfield on. But I talked to my mama about it, and she thought that, you know, my papa would have preferred me to actually hunt with it. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna hunt with it. I don't know how long I'm gonna hunt with it before I have to just put it up and you know, keep it safe in my gun safe. But for now, I'm gonna hunt with it. And I killed 2 or 3 deer with it, with Papa's original scope. And I made sure I told him, I said, hey, do not throw any of those parts away, you know. And actually, he was able to keep the rings and mount this scope with those rings.
That's cool.
So I've got that Redfield, the other Redfield, in the box that this one came in, and I've got it put away. So eventually, I'll just restore it back to its, you know, original that my papa had it in, and put it away, oil it up, lube it up, and put it in the safe. But for now, I'm gonna hunt with it. So let's talk a little bit about the specifics of this gun. This is a Winchester Model 88. They were produced from 1953 to 1970. It's around mid-1950s, maybe 55, 53 to around 73, 75. So you're talking about an old gun, much older than I am. And the scope that he had on it, that scope was probably from the early 80s, late 70s. This one, obviously, you know, I just got done talking about it. This is a brand new scope. But one of the coolest things about this gun, and what makes it unique to a lot of guns, is the action. The action is a 3-lug lockup, similar to a bolt action, but yet it operates like a lever action. It comes with a 4-round detachable magazine, which is cool. And you know, we used to run dogs as a kid, and I don't know how many of you deer hunt or how many of you ran dogs, but we would run dogs as a kid. We can't do it in the state of Louisiana anymore. But his setup, the way he had it, where he could dial back his scope to 2 power or 3 power, made this perfect for running dogs. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was fast, and it's even got some old iron sights on it, which we've never, and it's got a sight in the front, kind of a ring in the front, and a sight here midways. And I can't remember him ever using that. Obviously, with the scope that he had set up on it, you couldn't visualize the irons. But this is still the sling that he used. Nothing special. Just a standard old camo sling. And it's still in working condition. Like, it still holds up. It's got some frays up here, but nothing that would affect the integrity of the sling. I mean, guys, they just don't make guns like this anymore. As far as like rifles like this, I mean, it's got the oak leaf engraving on the stock, and they just don't take the time and the craftsmanship now that they did back then. If they do, you know, it's a special order, you know, something you got to really pay for, which is fine if you're into that. But I mean, this was a practical rifle. Yeah. In the day. This is not a, you know, one that's done up.
And I'm sure it was probably a pretty affordable rifle even back, you know.
Yeah, I wish he was around to ask him, but he's not. And I would ask him how much he paid for it, but it's probably not much.
It's amazing when you look at these old guns like this. And my dad's got a bunch of rifles and stuff, and you'd see it and you'd say, well, what'd you pay for that? Well, I bought it from a guy for $75, you know, or something like that. Yeah. And it's some, you know, gun that's 30, 40, 50 years old, but it's even older, 60, 70 years old, and it's still just rolling. Like it never, it's never checked up,
And actually, this one has a pretty unique story too, kind of like that. My papa's original, I told you he ran Winchester Model 88 as long as I could remember. Well, this isn't his original. His original was in the vehicle when one of my cousins wrecked a truck, and it destroyed the gun in the wreck. And so Papa went and found this one bought it from a guy, and it was actually left-handed. The gun was a left-hand model. He took it to a gunsmith, had him convert it to a right-hand model.
Wow.
And yeah, so I wish it was the original, because there's some big deer on the wall at my mama's house. And I don't know if he killed either one of those with this gun, but anyways, it's the one that he uses for most of my life. So anyways, like Michael said at the intro, we're all about stuff that's practical, stuff for self-defense, and I know that's why the majority of you watch the channel. But guys, this is where it all got started.
Yeah.
This is where my love of guns came from. I can remember seeing this in the truck on a gun rack, or during hunting season, or at the house on the gun rack at the house, because we didn't keep guns in safes. We kept them on the rack, and the kids knew not to touch them.
Yep.
That was just kind of the thing. And I've always admired this gun, and when I asked to borrow it, I had no intention of keeping it at all. Like, I did not, that was not why I asked for it. And when he told me I could keep it, it really meant a lot to me, and still does. This is where we got our start, where our love for guns came from. I didn't own an AR until last year, I didn't own a handgun until 5 years ago. So, but I've owned guns my whole life. So the majority of my life, I've been admiring guns like this one. And but anyways, this is probably, if I had to get rid of every gun I had and I could only keep one, and I didn't have to defend myself with it, I would keep this one on sentimental value. This is the most priceless gun I own, anyways. So
yeah, him sitting here talking about this gun just brings back memories of me as a child, and it makes me think of guns that I have really admired of my dad's and my grandpa's over the years. My grandpa he wasn't sickly, but he got hurt really bad in the paper mill here local, in the bag mill, and he wasn't able to hunt by the time I came around, was old enough to hunt. He wasn't hunting anymore because he couldn't walk very much. So he had a ton of guns, and there's a lot of stories behind his guns, but I didn't get to experience it as far as the hunting side. But him talking about this brings back memories of me as a kid, and some of the guns that I used, and my dad, things like that. So I'm really excited about this series, and to talk about some of the old guns that we have, and the old guns that our parents have, that just mean a lot to us and are just really, really cool. But you got anything else to say, man?
No, man. How far we carry the series depends on y'all.
Yep.
So if we have a decent response to it,
we may do this like one video a month, or something.
Yeah, we'll do more based upon y'all. So if y'all want to see this kind of stuff, cool. If not, then we'll continue. We realize what our niche is in the gun world on YouTube. Yeah. But for any of you guys that the hardcore guys that really follow us, I think this is some kind of cool stuff to know about us.
I do too. I do too. But anyways, guys, we appreciate y'all watching. You know what to do. Like, share, subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, or if you own one of these, you can put them in the comment section below, or you can jump over to the Facebook page. We always get into a more in-depth conversation there. We will also provide links to all of our social media outlets and sponsors in the description box below. But anyways, guys, we appreciate y'all watching, and y'all be safe.